Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of the Foot Basket Podcast. I'm glad that you tuned in, that you were here today, is going to enjoy this episode. I can't wait to get to the segments that I created. It's basically just like all NBA and all NFL teams for the players that I've enjoyed the most this season on both sides of the ball. And I can't wait to get to those and spend some time looking at these players and their stats and things of that nature. So I can't wait to get to that. I want to first give all the glory to God. Allow me to create this podcast to be able to talk about the sports that I love and that I enjoy watching, and share the knowledge that I learn and know and share it to you guys. And I just pray that all honor is given to God, all the glory is given to God. Allow me to do this podcast, and that He's been with me this whole time. So I just give all the glory to God. Um, let's start getting right into it. I wanna start with the question of the week. We only have one this week. Again, if you want to be in the question of the week segment, you could comment on this video if you're watching on YouTube. You could comment on the Spotify if you're on Spotify. You could send me a text personally on my personal Instagram, and you could also text the Foot Basket Podcast Instagram account. Also, if you are a viewer and you are not subscribed, or if you don't follow that Foot Basket Podcast account, you should. It'll keep you updated with all things regarding this podcast. If we have any question of the weeks, I post it on my story, things of that nature, and just so you can keep updated. But we will be posting every Tuesday at 12 p.m. So, but yeah, just go tune into the Instagram so you can stay updated. Um, so and also as well, if you've already sent in a question of the week, you could send another one again. And we have today a person that has sent in their second one, so I appreciate you. My boy Zaya sent in a second question. And this question he asked, where do I think Ja Morant will get traded to? So this is a good question because it's happening now. We see where Ja Morant trade ideas and speculations is happening right now. I saw like a thing about how Ja Morant wants to go to Miami, and that's the last place he should be. He's having distractions at Memphis. Think about Miami. Um, so I was looking at the standings. I was looking at the players and teams, and what teams are trying to sell right now, what teams are trying to buy, or are they trying to rebuild, and what would best fit Ja's money that's attached to him, because it's a trade. Somebody that's making the same amount of money as him, you can't just trade anybody. So thinking about the money aspect, I was also thinking about, like, can you bring him somewhere where you think he's gonna get distracted on outside the court issues? Can you, as a GM and organization, revive his career in a positive way, and will he be an impactful good player to your team? And I was really looking at some teams, and I found one that I really enjoy, and it probably isn't on the media too much. But with this Trae Young trade, it gave me an idea about what team can take Ja right now. So I'm gonna go into the team and answer your questions. My team is gonna be the New Orleans Pelicans. Um, the reason I say this team is I was looking at the trade that the Wizards acquired Trae Young, and of course the Wizards are looking to win now and maybe not even next year. But Trae Young is to work in this organization, work with this team as all these young players grow. And I look at the New Orleans Pelicans; they're last place in the West right now. I think it was like 10-25 or something like that. And you have a young two young rookies that you really like, and Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. You have the draft class teammate, if you want to call it that, of Zion with Ja Morant. You have Herb Jones, you have Jordan Poole, you have DeJounte Murray, you have Trey Murphy the third. And money matching would be, of course, like Jordan Poole and DeJounte Murray, or DeJounte Murray and someone else, just a salary filler. And I know the money can match just like that. And it's just seeing like a starting five of Ja Morant, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion, and Derek Queen, or whoever you want to slide into that center spot, or trade away even like a guy like Herb Jones to bring more spacing to the team for Zion, and bring more spacing for a guy like Derek Queen. Or even just develop Derek Queen's three throughout like 2 years, and I think 2-3 years from now, this Pelicans team can make a push where we see teams like the Clippers and the Lakers and even the Suns. 2-3 years from now, um, they aren't really gonna be in the hunt, as the Clippers are very old, the Lakers are very old, and the Suns have no draft picks, so they won't be really developing young players. And this is where, as these teams are falling off, you can slide in as a eighth seed 2 years from now, and get that playoff experience, continue to grow your young players, the two rookies that you really love, Jeremiah Fears and their queen. And I think this lineup looks really well. And all as an organization, as a GM, you just have to really believe, can I bring in John Morant? And he's gonna, be a good, impactful player, and really want to stay, for that 2 year period where it's gonna be, difficult this season. If you trade him right now or if it's next year, still they aren't gonna really be a great team. But it's kind of trusting a process where we saw a team like Detroit, where I know they drafted Cade, but Cade had to deal with those years of being the worst team in the league, and all it took was a couple draft picks, a couple um free agency signing, and then allowing the players that you have grow, and just like that, they're the best team in the East, and it was a 2 year turnaround. So you kind of had to share the same idea to John Morant when coming to this team. I think the New Orleans Pelicans could look really good. I think this was the best, in my opinion, on allowing John Morant to also just play the role that he plays with, that high pick and roll that he loves, bringing a guy like Derek Queen up there that can, if Derek Queen gets that ball, he can play make as well. So, and then you could also, John Morant driving and Zion doing a cut, and it's a lot right there. It's just a lot of highlights that could happen, and even just the media with John Morant and Zion being the same draft class, being teammates, being those top two picks. So yeah, I think this would be a great trade, and this was a great question. So I appreciate it, Zay. Um, so let's get straight into hoops this week. I do want to bring up a game that was last Sunday. I usually talk about games that are Monday and moving forward, but I want to go over a game that was last Sunday. It was the Spurs Timberwolves, and they 104-103 Timberwolves, and we saw this game, and teams are still trying to figure out how was the best way to guard the Spurs. Is it throwing two at Wemby, or throwing our best defensive player, no matter the height, at Wemby, or throwing our tallest player at Wemby? And this game, the Timberwolves did the opposite of all of that. They let Wemby have so much space and allow him to create so much, and they kind of guarded everybody else and said, let's see if Wemby can beat us himself. And I think that's exactly what happened, especially in the first half. The Spurs really choked this lead. But it's just an idea, like, moving forward as I go over these games, like the different game plans that teams are going at the Spurs. And I think the Spurs are such a team to watch right now. I've been watching a lot of Spurs basketball, and so that was how the Timberwolves threw it at the Spurs, and they won this game 104-103. So it's just an idea, is letting Wemby drop his 39, 40, 50 piece good, if the other players like Stephon Castle, Champagny, De'Aaron Fox, hold them to 10, 15, stuff like that. So just an idea. Some of these games this week this week was so good. I saw a stat where we have the most this season. We have the most, like, 2 point, 3 point game margin games or something like that since 1990s. Just saying, like, in the final minutes of the game, it's being decided by 2 3 points. And there was just so many buzzer beater games, last minute close games this week. So there were some bangers. So let's go over some of these. The Raptors 76ers game. Again, I've just been enjoying watching 76ers basketball. They get a good win over the Raptors. Tyrese Maxey and his VJ Edgecombe playing together. Jared McCain is starting to look better after seeing this game. And this last month, he's been looking way better. So it's, just been enjoying 76ers basketball. And then you also have, let's look at some of these games. The Spurs Thunders game. This was a very anticipated, really probably a high watch game, where is the Thunder going to lose 4 times to the Spurs. And this game was really close, first, second quarter. There was Thunder was keeping their lead, and in that third quarter, if you were watching this game, if you didn't get to watch it, excuse me, the Thunder was at home, and there was just this momentum shift in the third quarter. There was so much energy, there was so much hype going around the stadium, and the Thunder just used all of the energy that they were receiving from the fans, receiving from the momentum, and they just blew out the Spurs in that third quarter, and they just kept their lead this game. And it was just, basketball is really a game of runs, and it was a close game the whole time, and the Thunder just had that crazy third quarter where they were getting stops, they were making plays, they were having fast breaks, just off of steal and things of that nature. And it was just it was a really good game to watch, and to see how the Thunder played the Spurs. It wasn't too much differently. It was just that energy, that momentum shift that they had. Um, so yeah, that was a good one for the Thunder, not losing to the Spurs 4 times in a row, because that would have not been good. The Trailblazers Warriors. The only thing I put a note for this game. It was that Yang Hansen, however you say his name, the Chinese backup center for the Blazers, got a lot of PT today. With Denny being out, Donovan Clingan was dealing with some issues, and he did not look good. And I know there was so much hype, and not hype, but just kind of speculations of him being compared to Jokic and having that type of play style, and it was just not a good game for him. The Warriors get this win. I expected win with no Denny on the Trailblazers, but I took a note down watching that game that Yang Henson did not play well, or he hasn't been really playing too much this season, but he had a lot of minutes this game, and it was not good minutes. Um, so yeah, that's what I got from that game. Looking at some of these other games, also there was a lot of like the Celtics Heat game. This was a banger. Anthony Simons dropped, what was it, 40? It could have been 40. I don't think it was 50, but Anthony Simons had a 40 pieces game. Jaylen Brown had so many turnovers, and looking at some of these other games, looking at his stats, he had so many turnovers as well. And this was something that he's been dealing with most of his career, is the turnover aspect of his game. And in the Celtics Heat game, they were getting so many steals off of him, and he was turning the ball over so much. So although he's literally averaging like prime Jordan numbers, um, it's definitely important that Peyton Pritchard doesn't get injured when there's games like this game where Peyton Pritchard is not playing so much, and Anthony Simons has to come out here and drop 40, but he's still not handling the ball so much, where Jaylen Brown's really initiating the offense a lot. And I don't know if the team would be better if Jaylen Brown wasn't, being the prime ball handler, even though he's averaging 30. I don't know if that's good coaching. I don't know if that's bad coaching by me, but there's just so like the turnover assist ratio for Jaylen Brown is not good. And there's a lot of these games where other teams are going on runs because of his turnovers. But no hate on Jaylen Brown, because that boy is cooking. I know he dropped in the MVP rankings, but he's been cooking this whole season, so it was a good watch. The Warriors Hornets game, that was 4 days ago. Yeah, 4 days ago, 3 days ago. Um, I think they played them twice, because let me see, because there was the Hornets offense was so good, and the Warriors could not stop them. There was like what four Hornet players that had 20 or more. And I thought it was this game on the 17th, but there's been a couple games where I've watched the Hornets, and their offense they've been an joy to watch with their offense. Their defense is definitely not there, but Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Colin Nipple, um, offensively, this team has been so fun to watch. And I think it was this Warriors game where there was four starters that had 20 plus points, and it was a good watch. I also know that Giannis this week needs help. There was like 2 games where there was for sure one game where Giannis had like over 30, and all of his starters had 6 points or less. 6 points for four starters had 6 points or less. And I think I forgot which game it was, but I think it was like Kyle Kuzma had like 6, and then the next player had 4, the next player had 4, and another player had 0. And they're not playing 15 minutes; they're playing 20, 30 minutes a game. Um, and I just know it's probably hard for the what's it called, for Giannis to really stay there. It's generally no help over there, um but yeah, I don't have too much on hoops this week. There was so many close games. There was a lot of banger games. But that's all I have. I'm ready to get into this segment. It's basically just my All NBA. I have a first team, second team, third team of most enjoyable players that I've been enjoying this season. It has no, talent is there, but like it's not. My first team isn't Jokic, Shea, Luca, Giannis, Jalen Brown. It's not like the top 5 best players. You know what I mean? So let's start with my third team. We'll go third team to first. So my third team, I have Tyrese Maxey, Brandon Ingram, Giannis, Jalen Brown, and KD. Tyrese Maxey has been so fun to watch this season. He's grown so much. It's been so much scoring and so many plays. Brandon Ingram has been, he's in my opinion, or my in my opinion, he's been one of my favorite players throughout his career. He looks just like Kevin Durant in my opinion, and he's so like calm and composed. Playing on the floor, there's not a lot of emotion that comes out of Ingram, and he has the mid range game, which I enjoy a lot. Watching a player just hit that mid range. Giannis this season he had to be here somewhere. He's literally like his name is Lee Greek Freak. He's been playing so good offensively, defensively, and he has no help, and so it just allows him to get so many plays, get so many offensive touches, and see his game also evolve to the 3 point line and get some mid ranges in there. Watching his like throughout these 2-3 years, it's been growing in that. Jalen Brown, he almost made second team. He was so close to making second team, but I have him at third. He's been going crazy this season. Being an MVP candidate was something that I was never thinking Jalen Brown could do, and he had made it all the way to third. He's literally averaging almost basically prime Jordan numbers. Um, and to see what happens when Jason Tatum comes back. But again, Jalen Brown has always been a good player, whether Jason Tatum's on the floor or not. And I know his efficient or not his efficiency, but his numbers may go down. Um, but like you'll still feel his impact. You'll still see his impact on the floor. And then Kevin Durant, he's had game winners. He's had 40-point games. He's sixth all time in scoring. He just hit that a couple days ago. He's been scoring so much. He's looked so good with this Houston Rockets offense, and I didn't know whether or not it was gonna work with so many players that, could have the ball like Alperen Sengun and if Fred VanVleet didn't get injured, how was the offense gonna work? But I think the coaching staff has done really well, incorporating KD into their offense. So that's what I have for my third team. My second team, I enjoyed. I can't even think of my first team, but my second team, I have Cooper Flag, Amon Thompson, Anthony Edwards, Cason Wallace, and Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham. Let's start with Cade Cunningham. He's been one of my favorite players since he came into the league, and there's been so much pressure on him. There's been at least 2-3 years of his career where even last year he has the ball the most in the whole league. I think it's like 90% of possession, something like that. It was a crazy stat I saw last year or 2 years ago where he has the ball the most, and there's so many times where we'll see Cade Cunningham have these high turnover games, and as a point guard that can really play on all three levels. You just have to, grow that assist and that playmaking, and he has. And this season, he's looked so good with this Detroit team, and I think he's learned how to play with these players, learn how to play that playmaking ability, lower down the turnovers, and he's been such an enjoy to watch, and he's genuinely a clutch player as well. I'm gonna go with my second one for my second team is Cason Wallace. This is a sleeper pick. He's not a top 30 player in the NBA, but watching him play on both sides of the ball, and make plays defensively, offensively, hit threes, get steals, leading in the league in steals, and he just looks he like watching him play has been an enjoy to watch, and he's such a staple to what that OKC team wants, which is that defensive side of them that they're gonna run at you, they're gonna throw everything at you, and Cason Wallace, breathes that in OKC, and offensively don't leave him open as well. There's not much of a mid range and a driving game to him, but don't leave him open on that wing because he will hit that three. But I've been enjoying watching Cason Wallace basketball as well. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards starting the season, I think it started slow, and after I don't know if it was like after a month, maybe after a month and a half, 2 months, he's been going crazy, and I know he's been in this role where you haven't like there's been starting fives of no point guards at all, and he's getting into that point guard role where he's handling the ball a lot, doing a lot of playmaking, and I think he's doing as best as I would expect, and maybe other fans would expect, where he's not turning over the ball as much as you would assume a shooting guard would, not being a point guard most, if not his whole career. And He's had crazy scoring games. He's looked so good with his three, and I remember I think every season he always says that he's gonna work on something different. And I think last season he said that he was basically gonna work on his post game. We could see that in these games, but the scoring side of him, the playmaking, like just making plays like defensively as well. It's been such, he's such a staple in this league, a top 10 player in this league, and he brings so much energy on the court, and it's just been a fun watch for Anthony Edwards as well. Amin Thompson, he defensively, that's like the main point. Is he just again, it's like Casey Wallace where he's just running around the court, he'll throw everything at you, and these cuts that like I don't know how teams are allowing Amin Thompson to get so many cuts on them, but because he cannot shoot. Like, I'm not gonna say I can shoot better than Amin Thompson, but if I'm a coach, I'll live. Yo, if Amin Thompson hits 5 threes in a game, I'll live with that because Amin Thompson on his cuts is so driving foul, like getting those fouls, being aggressive in the paint offensively. He's so good at that, and then defensively, He's gonna work his butt off to get the ball to make plays offensively. So it's been a good watch for Amin Thompson. My last player on my second team is Cooper Flag. Watching how he's grown throughout the season has been so good. I've been enjoying his game, offensively and defensively. I just for one thing I just hope that he really takes that leap when it comes to his 3 point attempts, his 3 point percentage, his efficiently with 3 pointers, and just taking more shots at the 3 point line. Maybe over this off season or more as the season ends, but that mid range game, the floaters, the driving has looked good for Cooper Flag, and of course defensively we saw what he could do in college, and he's been translating to the NBA, making big plays, getting big blocks and big stops, being a crucial player in the final minutes of the game as a 19-year-old. So it's been also just the biggest part is again just that growth that we've seen where in the beginning of the season we was like I don't know, but like now you can't say anything about Cooper Flag. He's looked so good. He's looked like the number one overall pick. He looks like the rookie of the year in my opinion. So it's just been good that he's been able to feel more comfortable in the NBA, and hopefully he just works at three. My first team, all these players are it's been so fun to watch, and I have some crazy names here. So I have Keontae George, I have Jokic, I have VJ Edgecombe, I have Michael Porter Jr., and I have Luca. So we'll start with Luca. Luca's literally basically averaging a 30-point triple double. Um, Crazy offensive games. And even if the Lakers win, he still has 40 points. You can't stop him from scoring, and um, he's not like I mean, he's not as bad as Shea when it comes to just so many free throws, his foul baiting. He's not like Joel Embiid. That 1 year Joel Embiid had averaging 30, and 16 of those were free throws. Um, I'm sure my fault, Joel Embiid, but Luca, like watching even in Dallas, his game, I still don't understand him and Jokic, where it's so slow that as a viewer, as a fan, I still don't understand how they're getting so many points, how they're getting so many plays offensively, and it's not for me to understand because they make it contested, 99% contest, and they will hit it. So, um, it's been good to watch Luca play good in this Lakers role. We didn't know how it would shift, and nothing has changed. He's still the same Luca, averaging, getting the rebounds, getting the assists as well. Being the offensive playmaker. Still, his defensive side has been so lackluster, but um, he really makes up for it on offense. So it's been good to watch Luca. MPJ. If I could rank this, MPJ would be my second most favorite player to watch this season. He's just been chucking up shots and making them. His efficiency is insane, and we've seen this. We saw this in Denver where he will hit his shots if you leave him open, he will hit his shots. And now that he has his freedom, in Brooklyn, it's just like he's just been cooking and off like just so many, and like he's just a three-level scorer as well, where he can hit on a 3 point line, he can hit coming off the screen, he could like dribbling, like dribble pull up, he can drive on you, he can hit the mid range, the floaters. He's 6'10", so he could dunk on you as well. MPJ has so much offensive talent, And defensively, it's not even like he's not like Luka where he has so much offensive talent, and then defensively he just doesn't try on defense. He's not a all defensive team player, but like he'll step up on you, and I don't know. MPJ has been such a fun watch, and it's the only reason. Just he's literally the only reason if I ever click into Brooklyn games. Excuse me. But yeah. So then I have my third player in my first team is VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe has been sold. I have Tyrese Maxey and VJ in this top in my top 15 players basically to watch, and VJ Edgecombe has been so fun to watch. With him and Tyrese Maxey playing together, the thing about VJ Edgecombe is that he generally gives us all offensively and defensively, and the plays that he makes, and he's just such a like a bolt, like an electric bolt on the team. He's that loud, that running around player, the guy that's giving the most energy. He's gonna dive on the floor for loose balls. Um, he'll go all the way up for the pin on the backboard, even if he's at the free throw line. He'll still go contest that layup. He's basically, it looks like he's fighting for his life, like he's playing for his life. He's playing for his role, and that's the way it looks like. And it's been such a fun watch to see somebody like just give so much passion into the game. On both sides of the ball. That's why I have so many players like Casey Wallace, Amen Thompson, VJ Edgecombe. These players that are just playing both sides of the ball, and just giving that passion. I think defense is so underrated, and VJ is a guy that he's not gonna have the average the most steals, not even top 5 or even average top 5 in blocks, but he like when it's crunch time, when there's 5 minutes in the game, he's gonna make that big play. So it's just been such an enjoy to watch for VJ. Number 2 spot, or not number 2 spot, but my second, like one of my fourth player on my first team, Jokic. Even though he's injured right now, Jokic is so like the IQ, the playmaking of this guy, and the way that he scores, it still makes no sense to me. Like I said with Luka as well, he just gets the buckets when he wants. He passes the ball insanely. He has the vision, and like that's insane. And you can't leave him open on 3-point line. You got to step up, because he will hit 5 threes in a game, and miss 2 of them. Maybe only miss 1 of them. You have to step up to him, and he if he doesn't blow by you as a center, he's gonna pass it out to somebody that's sitting in the corner, and they're gonna hit a 3. And it feels like every time that Jokic causes a defender to pinch in, and Jokic passes that ball out, or does that pick and roll with Jamal Murray, it's like he genuinely has IRL dimer where they actually don't miss. And that game with Jamal Murray, that pick and roll with Jamal Murray and Jokic, that 2-man game is so fun to watch, in my opinion, as a Denver fan. And I don't know how other teams feel about it, but it's so unstoppable, and it's so fun to watch Jokic this season. And then my probably most fun player to watch this season is Keontae George. I feel like I might get a text or a message, but I feel like I've been glazing him this whole season. But Keontae George has been so fun to watch offensively. Defensively, don't even ask me what the advanced stats is on Keontae George, but offensively, he's just been cooking. He literally looks like a mini version of Kyrie out there, kind of something similar to Kyrie, similar to a guy like MPJ, if MPJ was short, except like if MPJ also had handles as well. He just has that shot checking ability to hit his shots and shoot at a good efficiency. And he just popped out on, like, Keontae George was on the team, like he was someone that you know about, but like you're not like putting him in your first team most watchable players. But now he's here, because he's hitting tough buckets. He's hitting it in crunch time and clutch moments. And he's the only him. I mean, he's not the only reason I'm watching Jazz games. I've been watching Jazz games regardless if he's playing or not. But the Jazz organization, the coaching staff allows Keontae George to have this role. Sometimes we'll see him sitting at the wing, and he'll still just, if he's sitting there and you don't step up, he'll hit that 3 as well. I don't know if he's tired, if they just want to do different sets with him not in it, but he's been so fun to watch, especially with that high pick and roll. If there's or not even a pick and roll, but that high screen, he'll come out that screen and just hit that 3 if you don't go over them. And if that drop guy doesn't step up to him. So it's just so fun to watch Keontae George. That's all I have for NBA. Let's get to this NFL week was a banger. Um, I didn't talk about the Texans Steelers game, so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. Not too much though, but Texans Steelers game right before the divisional. The Texans really tried to settle this game somehow. Um, the defense literally almost basically scored more points than the offense. CJ Stroud was trying to sell, and before they played the Patriots, I was like, CJ Stroud really has to step up this Patriots game, and we'll get to what CJ Stroud did. Um, this Texas defense is so good, and we saw in this Patriots game, we saw it in the Steelers game, the plays that they can make, the turnovers that they can do. It was this Texas defense is what I was genuinely so scared of. I don't think it matters too much because the Denver Broncos offense is already bad. So like when you put a good defense against like a kind of mid to bad offense, I mean, the turnovers are gonna happen regardless. I'm already used to them. So, but it's not like the Steelers offense is crazy good, but it was like just watching the plays that this Texas defense made. It was such a good watch. So let's go to the divisional. All of them were bangers besides that 49ers game. The Texans Patriots game was pretty mid too, but the Rams, Bears, the Broncos, Bills, banger games. Let's go over this Bills Broncos. As a Broncos fan, I am cooked. Um, like genuinely, we'll see. We'll see what happens in this Patriots game. I genuinely believe I'm just gonna call him backup quarterback. I don't know if it's Stidham. I don't know which one it is. I think it's Stidham, but I don't want to be wrong, so I don't want to pronounce your name wrong in case you ever tap into one of these podcasts. Um, but we'll really see if he could step up to the offense that this team's already lacking in. That's what I was thinking about the most as a Broncos fan is that this game, um, the offense was not good, and we're gonna bring in a backup quarterback to do better against a top 5 defense in the league. We'll see what ends up happening if he somehow makes it possible, and as long as if he makes the offense look good, like as good as Bo Nix or even better, I think there's a chance that we win the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens with this Patriots game. But what's it called? It was a good game. This game was great to watch. Uh, the second half, the offense of the Broncos just fully died and allowed the Bills to come back. And I was, like I said, I was the most scared of the Bills, and they showed Broncos fans that they are someone that you can't take light. And they brought us to overtime, and there was some questionable calls and questionable flags, and that's not for me to answer upon, but because I was on the right side of the flags. But it was a good game, and we'll see what the Bills and the organization does with all these AFC divisionals and making out the wild card, but can't win the or not winning the wild card, making it the wild card, but not winning it and stuff like that. But I know it's probably hard for Josh Allen's team. I just he needs the wide receivers for sure. But yeah, the Bills still did it with no wide receivers, and their defense is not top 5, top 10 in the league as well. It's just the Bills just have that momentum in them. I want to go over this Rams Bears game. I'm so happy it was at Soldier Field because I feel like if it was in that 70 degree stadium in LA, I think the Rams would have smacked the Bears. But with the Bears having like the advantage of playing in the snow and being used to this cold weather versus the Rams literally play in a AC stadium where they could control the temperature themselves. I think brought a disadvantage to the Rams team and made the game closer than it would have been. That throw by Caleb was insane. I know, like that's bro. As soon as I finished watching the game, that's all I saw on social media, and that throw was insane. I don't think Caleb had the best game, but he was making plays and he made up for his mistakes, and so it was such a good. This game was such a banger as well. And I'm looking blanking on what happened in this game, and even though I literally just watched it again, I watched the highlights again yesterday. But it was that Caleb Williams throw was insane. And we'll see since the Rams are we're gonna be playing the Seahawks. They're I don't know what stadium Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have an inside stadium, so maybe it'll be a better game for the Rams. But I'm so happy it was in Soldier Field because it made the game so much closer. The Seahawks 49ers game. Something I want to bring out about this team, about the Seahawks. We all knew this whole season that the Seahawks defense was so good, but the question was like, will their offense play good? And something I want to say about this offense, this Seahawks offense, the playmakers they have, like Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Rashid Shaheed. Yo, shout out Rashid Shaheed. Shout out if Seahawks fan. If you don't go and go send Rashid Shaheed a thank you text. Wish him a happy new year. Wish him, God, put blessing upon his life. Send him a little prayer. Cause he really set the tempo of this game. I think once that kick return touchdown went in, the tempo of the game was completely in Seahawks' favor. Like they just had the momentum. And they played well. That just riled them up, and that's exactly what the Seahawks definitely wanted. But even on the receiving side of the ball for Shaheed, he can make plays as well, and we could see that with this game. What I really want to point out is that if the passing game isn't going well, where Jack Smith and Jigba had 2 catches in like the fourth quarter, Sam Darnold isn't having the best game. The run defense or the run offense isn't bad as well. Kenneth Walker can make plays as well. This was another game. I mentioned one earlier this season, somewhere around week 15 or whatever, where I could see like how impactful like the O line was. I think it was a 49ers game. And this game I could see how impactful the O line was for the Seahawks. Whether it was a tight end blocking, or there was a wide receiver making a big block, and if you play a team like the Rams or even whoever you play in the Super Bowl, if you make it there, if your playmakers and your quarterback isn't playmaking, this run offense isn't bad. And when you start getting on it, making ground plays, making 10-yard rushes, 8-yard rushes, defenses are starting to fill the box more, bring down the safety, send the corner blitz even, and this will help your offense, your throwing or your throwing offense be able to open more. So it's something to think about. And just something that I just really noticed is that the Seahawks. I mean, I haven't watched much Seahawks football this season, but to see how good this run game was. I mean, it's not like the 49ers are a top 5 rush defense in the league, but it was a good watch, and it was 41-6. So like the game wasn't a good watch, but seeing the Seahawks have a different side of their game, whereas like you have these playmakers like Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Rashid Shaheed, probably one of the best wide receivers room, at least top 10 receivers room in the league. There's you have an alternative in that run game, and then the Texans Patriots. See, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's ever happened. Can you trade away a quarterback? Like, can you trade a quarterback for a quarterback? Because this Texans defense does not deserve a quarterback like CJ Stroud. If I don't know what the Texans, what their free agency looks like when the season ends. If they keep this defense, all their defensive players, and like their main players, of course, if you lose one guy, you can like a third string, second string, you could just re-sign that third string, second string. But if you keep this defense, you got to figure out what you got to do about this offense, about CJ Stroud. 4 interceptions in the first half, gang. 4 interceptions in the first half, gang? Or maybe 4 turnovers. Maybe I'm wrong. Nah, I think it's 4 interceptions in the first half, gang. Bro, and somehow still, this defense is so good that it's only 16-28. If there was 4 interceptions in the first half for, let's say this Rams Bears game, if the Bears threw 4 interceptions in the first half, the game would have been 45-6, just like this 49ers Seahawks game. But the Texans defense is so good that it's a 12-point game. It's a 2-possession game, and it's just so unfortunate this defense has to deal with the CJ Stroud. Like, it was so bad, and I know, like, I genuinely, to be honest with you, I believed in CJ Stroud before this game and before the season as well, and I was even praising him, like he's been looking so much better since his injury, or like when he came back from his injury, but this game was not good. So we'll see what ends up happening. But let's go to my NFL team of basically my favorite players to watch this season. So I set up a first, second, and third team. I made a QB team. a wide receiver team and a defense team. So let's go over that defense team first. My favorite players to watch this season was Myles Garrett, Azeez Al-Shaair, Jalen Petrie, Nick Bonito, and Chris Jones. Let's talk about Chris Jones. Chris Jones, every season, he just gives it his all every single play. And even when the Chiefs season was looking pretty chopped when Mahomes got injured, Chris Jones was still making plays, showing the emotion, showing the drive to keep playing. So I just, I had to put him on there, and he's just such a great player as well. So I just love that. Nick Bonito on my Broncos, straight up playmaker. Whether he's getting sacks, whether he's patting down balls, whether he's just being that leader on that defense, on that strong Broncos defense. And of course, he has getting a lot of sacks as well. It's been a fun watching him make plays. Watching that one play against the Bears or whatever team it was where it was the Commanders, where he batted that ball down, that 2 point version where we would have lost that game. He batted that ball down. He makes so many big plays as a and Nick Bonito. To be honest with you, I didn't know this guy 2-3 years ago. It's been good to see him just pop out and just be this remarkable player as well. I'm gonna go the two guys from Houston, Jalen Petrie and Azeez Al-Shaair, both of them, just so much emotion, so much passion for football, and such hard hitting, players. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that side of football. Like I don't. If you genuinely hit them hard, and it's clean, like it's not helmet to helmet or whatever other rules there are, but I enjoy that. And Jalen Petrie, Azeez Al-Shaair, has been leading that defense and making the plays, getting past breakups and getting the interceptions. It's been and you could really notice that boy Jalen Petrie with that guardian cap. Also all NFL players, if you ever see this, which probably would never happen, but wear a guardian cap, gang. It's okay, bro. You don't lose or by wearing guardian cap, bro. But protect your CTE, protect your brain. Don't turn on like AJ Brown. My fault, AJ Brown, but watching these two players, I'm just putting them both together. It's been a fun watch and them lead the Houston's defense. And then lastly on my defense team is Myles Garrett, getting so many sacks and how he moves however I think he weighs like 265, whatever he weighs. The way he moves, he moves like he's 170 pounds, and he has more agility and quicker feet than some wide receivers in the league. And it's crazy with how big he is and how he moves as a defensive lineman, and he deserves that sack record. That last sack we'll let it slide, but he just makes plays as a Browns defensive player that really staple on that Browns team. Let's go to my wide receiver team. I got JSN, Jack Smith and Jigba, George Pickens, Amon St. Brown, CD Lamb, and Puka Nacua. I think Puka might be like my second. Puka just has this drive, and he just wants to play hard to every he wants every yard, and you could really see that. I don't think, like I said, I talked about this last week or the week before. I don't think Puka's the most talented player in the league, and I don't even think he's top 10. But he just wants it more than anybody else, any other wide receivers, and you could really see it in the effort he puts in. And I just enjoy that in a wide receiver. My second player on my wide receiver team is CD Lamb. CD Lamb didn't really drop down to like wide receiver 2. It's kind of wide receiver 1B to George Pickens. But he still gets so many targets. He still gets so many plays, so much separation, and he'll get a heads up on you too. So I've been enjoying watching CD Lamb make plays with Dak Prescott sending him dots as well. My third player on my wide receiver team is Amon St. Brown. It's generally so good, and he's like one of the best players on that Lions offense. And he's still super young, and he still has so much more to learn, which is so crazy. But he's really made a staple and made his name known in the league with the plays that he makes and the catches that he does. So it's been an enjoy watching Amon St. Brown this season. George Pickens, definitely my first one. Like it's been a while. I feel like since we've seen a player that's just straight up a deep threat. That you throw that ball up and he will catch it. And that's what George Pickens is. You saw a little bit of it in Pittsburgh, but when he came to Dallas and Dak was sending him those bombs, he was getting up there. He was just being athletic. He's not one of the biggest wide receivers in the league. He's not a Megatron. He's not a Randy Moss. Um, but he's basically, he literally looks like Travis Hunter, and he just gets the ball somehow just with his athleticism, and it's been an enjoy to watch. And then JSN is my last one on my wide receiver team. The plays he makes, the bombs that Sam Darnold be throwing him, and he still be catching it with full, like, so much coverage. So many one hand catches this season as well. I don't know if there's a stat, but he's definitely had a lot as well, and he gets so much separation as a wide receiver. He's been such a good wide receiver to watch this season. So yeah, that's what I have for my receiver team. And my QB team last, I have Joe Burrow, I have T Law, I have Jackson Dart, I have Dak Prescott, and I have Caleb Williams for sure. Caleb Williams is my favorite quarterback to watch this season, and it's just like, if you think about the top 5 best throws this season, Caleb Williams got to be on at least 4 of those. When it's literally that crunch time moment, Caleb Williams steps up, and I didn't really believe in Caleb Williams when he got drafted and when he was in Chicago last season. Like, I didn't have much about what he would do and think he was going to be such a good player like he is now, but Caleb Williams has looked so good this season, and I think I've been enjoying, like, the big plays that he makes, especially in crunch time, and that's what I've enjoyed the most, and why he's in probably my number 1 spot when it's come most watchable. Dak Prescott he's always looked so good. He's definitely had a couple years where he had a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnover issues, but this season with CeeDee Lamb, with George Pickens, he's looked so good and more efficient than he ever has, and he tried to lead this team, but the Cowboys defense is doing so terrible. But it was good to watch Dak this season, especially with wide receiver like George Pickens, to see if he could make those long throws and take that risk, and he did, and he trusted George Pickens. Jackson Dart is really up here just for the vibes, but no, he just has this drive, kind of like Puka Nacua, where he kind of just wants it more than anybody else, and he has the emotion, he has the passion for the game. And it was so fun to watch that Camp Scatterboo Jackson Dart little 4-week segment, 4-week little part. But I was proud to see Jackson Dart get his role, deserve his role after Russell Wilson was starting, and even Jameis started the game. But Jackson Dart looked good this season, and I think he will grow to be a good quarterback. I have T Law, another player kind of similar to Jackson Dart, where he kind of just had this funness to him, and he was making plays that I can't. That one, I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs, that he made that one crazy play where he fell twice and got into the end zone. And I remember someone say this is the most T Law touchdown of all time, and it Jimmy is, and it was I think he's leading this Jacksonville team in a good direction, and I hopefully the Jaguars just make another push next year and hopefully get more lucky when it comes to I forget who they played in the wild card. I don't want to check that. I do want to check that real quick. They played the Bills, and it was a close game. I think the Jaguars want to have a good quarterback to lean on and trust in. So it's been good to watch T-Log on football. And then lastly, my last person is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, even though he was out for like 3 months most of the season, I don't think it was 3 months, but whatever it was, he's so fun to watch, and he just dots up your team. Whether or not his defense is gonna sell him or not, it doesn't matter. He's gonna dot up your team. It's been a joy to watch Joe Burrow this season and these past few seasons ever since he's been in the league, and we'll see what the Bengals end up doing when it comes to rebuilding, selling, buying, but I think no matter what wide receivers is on Joe Burrow's team, I think Joe Burrow will find them. So we'll see what ends up happening if he ends up having bad wide receivers, if Jamar Chase and T Higgins leave. But I don't think Joe Burrow needs the receivers. He has the arm ability, the IQ, the vision to just dot up teams on a nightly basis. So that's why I have for the NFL. That's why for the NBA. That's why I have for this episode. I'm glad you tuned in. I'm glad that you were here. Again, like, if you've made it all the way to the end, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, like this video, send in a comment, send in a question of the week, question for next week, and follow that Foot Basket Podcast Instagram account so you can stay updated for all things. I thank you for tuning into this episode. Send me any questions or feedback, personally, or even comment on this video. Just make sure you share to others. Turn on that post notification so you know when I post every Tuesday at 12. Thank you for tuning in again. Peace.